We do have an outreach programme at the Record Office, and we go out to local libraries and village halls and that sort of place. But still, people are expected to visit us when we go to those places, and so they already have to know that they'd be interested. So the whole idea behind the pop-up archives was to go to places where people already were, people who might not realise that they would be interested, and then we could show them our collections and hopefully spark that little bit of fascination for archives.
We had a focus group of young people and we talked to them about the kind of events that where we should go basically, and where we should take the archives out to. And we narrowed it down to a number of events within the region where we knew there'd be a critical mass of young people and their families. The university became involved because there was a kind of direct connection with what we were doing and the way that they teach some of their students social history. So we were looking at that, and we also got the university involved in our internship programme.
I heard about it through the University of Derby that I'm at, and one of my lecturers has also been involved in the project. She suggested that it'd be a good thing for me to try and figure out where I want to go after I finish my degree. So I've been looking at all the archives and trying to tailor them to the events that we went to.
All of the events, what we did was we had materials and documents and things which were site specific to that place. So immediately, even if you hadn't engaged in a kind of a project which has a sort of creative element, you could immediately engage with something that had, oh, this is a map of where my house was, you know, I can locate where my house was. My great-grandfather's name is in this book. Our creative collaborators, Debbie, Matt, Julian and Maria, were brilliant because it was their role on the project to bring what I guess people perceived as being dry and dusty and kind of not for me archives. It was their role to bring them to life.
So there's a dancer, there's a musician, there's a storyteller, there's a photographer, and myself as a poet. So there's a real mix of different disciplines. We came up with a series of ideas which would include having performances and talks that we had created that were inspired by things in the archives that we'd found ourselves.
The good thing about having a diverse group of creative practitioners was that we stimulated each other's ideas. So when we were working on the Ripley project, we had an idea for a song that was based on something from the Records Office that I'd found, and Matt then reinterpreted some of the stories of that, and Maria wrote the same story from a different perspective in a storytelling side of view, and that was great because that could almost have been a piece in its own right, and we had no idea that was going to happen. And everybody was drawing experiences from the Records Office for their piece of work.
My name is Ash, I'm 32, by trade a chimney sweep. I dream of boring dancing and I have 5 kids so sweet. I followed father's footsteps, grew up in old Ripley. Those dark and dusty chimneys, I clean them all quickly, and oh, I clean them all quickly.
I think it really surprised me. I mean, I thought it would be a difficult thing for people to come onto the stand and actually look. I thought they might think, oh, that's not for me, I'm not into history. But actually, because of the gentle enticements that we used, the way they were invited in, whether that was creatively, whether they were offered a cake, whether they were just asked a question as they were walking past, they had an invitation to come on the stand and just browse, and I think people were really aware of whether they, just giving people time to have a look and take information in, but also where they needed someone to just ask a question and help them to find that connection and the relevance to themselves.
To fight the ferrets, off to France we go. My best friend Jeff is up.
We got one table set up where you could say where you came from and the reason, either a little story about themselves or the reason why they were at that particular event. And I think giving people the opportunity to become part of an archive was the main thing.
We landed in France, we learned some French, it's funny how they talk.
No one knew the interest and fascination from the creative practitioners, the young people involved in helping set up the project, the whole community at so many levels, children through to older people, to really quite old people, were all really interested and engaged in aspects of the project and the diversity of activities at each event. I think it was quite remarkable.
We had some young people particularly who stayed for the entire event. I mean, when we were at Ripley all day, they stayed all day, you know, which is quite an incredible thing, really. Seeing that kind of, almost that sense of kind of wonderment and that kind of light bulb moment when people go, oh, actually, this might just be for me. I might find this interesting.
We had 2 little girls who visited us at Worksworth. One of our original documents was an apprenticeship register book, and basically they are filled with the names of children from about 8 years to 12, 14. And one little girl was 12 and she saw the name of this other girl apprentice. She was 12 250 years ago. And she realised, well, if that little 12-year-old can be in the archives and held forever, maybe if I contributed, then my name and my story would be held forever as well. So she wrote a card out and signed her name Olivia from the past. So in 250 years' time, when people read that, then she's left that message for future generations to read, and she knows that she's in there forever now.
My friend Jeff, here's one for you, they're glad that you're alive. The kids have done the garden, their taters are the best. Grow peas and beets.
I hope that they'll be inspired and excited by that experience to want to come to this building, to the archives here, and to sort of follow their own stories. But it is a treasure trove, so just come and use it.
Emily has taken in for Belgian refugees. She's joined a...
I was just really pleased that people were as inspired by what they found as we were inspired enough to create the project in the first place.
People that we met, the public in general, they all have amazing stories to tell, and I think that quite often people will not consider their own stories and memories as valuable, and yet they are living history, and we need to record and document those too, because they too are amazing stories that tell us about the world that we live in.
A chimney sweeps the life for me with lots of cups of tea. A chimney sweeps the life for me with lots of cups of tea.
The Car Boot's Guide to a Beautiful Bargain. Because it's beautiful and true, in the car boot near you, there are useful things that you can find, and other things will blow your mind. We go slowly, aisle by aisle. Some of the DVDs make us smile. The Sound of Music, take that, Top Gun, Fighting Fit, Fighting Fat. There's a thermal t-shirt such as you never knew existed. There's a fish poacher as you get home and wish that you'd resisted. Smurfs and Kermits and wrestling figures, Barbie dolls and dinosaurs. A teapot that was yesterday in my house and tomorrow is in yours. Everything here once was new in shops, fashions through the decades, 1970s glitter frocks, the pink Junior rock guitar we bought Chelsea when she was 4, 2 tins of red paint Jane bought that John refused to paint on the kitchen door.